This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. The holidays are over, the decorations are down, and suddenly everything feels a little empty. It's normal to feel the winter blues after the holiday excitement. January, February, and March are by far my least favorite months of the year. It's cold and dark, and I have to get some extra vitamin D on board. I also need to keep my regular scheduled appointments with my therapist. So if you're feeling that post-holiday funk, I definitely suggest you checking out BetterHelp because maybe it's time to talk. You might also be one of those people like me who makes New Year's resolutions and you get super motivated. So maybe you need someone behind you to hold you accountable and come up with a plan to meet your goals. BetterHelp is super convenient, totally online. You have a therapist right at your fingertips whenever you need them. So head over to betterhelp.com/wifeofcrime1 to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/wifeofcrime1 for 10% off your first month. So Russ, they say that truth is stranger than fiction. Well, the case I'm going to tell you about today is so much more strange, so much more horrific than the movie it inspired. I'm going to tell you all about how this serial killer caused mass hysteria on a college campus in 1990. This is the case of the Gainesville Ripper.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Wife of Crime. Just kidding. It's Russ. Jess is going to tell me a story.
All right. So first I want to talk about...
Hey, how good was that voice? I could do like voiceovers.
That was a good voice. It was. So first I want to talk about, really quick, how was your week, Russ, so far?
I've been at work for the last 7 or 8 days in a row. I just got out of work.
I've been on vacation. And sadly, my vacation, it was really a staycation. That's why I was able to put out another bonus episode this week. And sadly, my vacation is coming to an end. Tonight is my last night off, and I go back to work tomorrow, back to the grind. But you've been working this whole week.
Yeah, but now I have the next 3 days off all by myself, so it's going to be video games and beer.
Well... Oh, and we have to go see Joker. I've heard it's phenomenal. Everyone's talking about it. We have to go see it.
I guess.
So, I have a good question for you. A very thought-provoking question. Where were you in 1996?
In the boogie down Bronx.
How old were you?
No one's business.
No, really, how old were you in 1996?
I'm not telling anyone.
You're so lame.
All right. In 1996, I was 15.
15. Yep.
Which makes me 29 today.
I was 11.
Don't try to do that math.
They're going to try to do it. I was 11 in 1996. Some other fun facts of things that happened in 1996. Bill Clinton was just reelected. Pokemon just came out.
Nerd.
The phenomenon known as Pokemon just came out. Celine Dion came out with her hit single, Because You Loved Me. Other songs that came out, Killing Me Softly by the Fugees, brings back some memories, right?
Yeah, I had a friend that used to play that over and over and over. And we'd be like, bro, you're literally killing me softly. Stop playing that song. It's a good song, but not for the 30th time in a row.
That's really cheesy. That you guys are corny. You're literally killing me softly.
Well, he's killing me for real. I died.
Another one. Oh, this was my first cassette tape. My first cassette tape. No diggity, no doubt. No diggity, no doubt. I used to love that song.
You know what my first cassette tape was?
What?
New Kids on the Block.
Really? I loved New Kids.
My aunt bought it for me.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I thought I was so cool with my No Diggity No Doubt cassette tape. I learned all the rap verses because I wanted to be able to. Well, was there really rap in it? I'm trying to remember the song. Was there a lot of rapping? It was more like singing.
Okay.
What else? Oh, movies. Independence Day. Phenomenal film.
Oh, that was dope when the drunk dude flew into the spaceship. Oh, who didn't cry?
Oh, I love that movie.
Not me, I didn't cry. But inside, if I could have, I would have cried.
Another great movie, Twister. Did you see Twister? I love that movie.
Every movie Jess ever talks about, the next sentence is, did you see it?
Well, I'm just curious. It was a great movie. I love Twister.
Mediocre.
Jerry Maguire, Show Me the Money.
I had one good line.
Well, another movie came out.
You know what else was in 1996?
What?
The Yankees won the World Series.
Did. The Yankees won after like 18 years, right?
I don't know how many years.
I think it was 18 years.
And they beat the Braves, and that's what we were doing in the Bronx, winning. So no one else's baseball team in 1996 was winning. Huh. Take offense, everyone.
We have a lot of Bronx listeners who I'm sure are right there with you as Yankee fans and are very excited about that. All right, so another movie that came out on December 20th, 1996, changed horror for a short time. And I'm going to play you a clip of this movie, and we'll see if you know which one it is. Are you ready?
Uh-huh.
Okay, here we go.
Hello?
Why don't you want to talk to me?
Who is this?
You tell me your name, I'll tell you mine.
I don't think so.
What's that noise?
Popcorn.
You making popcorn?
Uh-huh.
I only eat popcorn at the movies.
Well, I'm getting ready to watch a video.
Really? What?
Oh, just some scary movie.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know.
You have to have a favorite. What comes to mind?
Halloween. You know, the one with the guy in the white mask who walks around and stalks babysitters?
Yeah.
What's yours?
Guess.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Is that the one where the guy had knives for fingers?
Yeah, Freddy Krueger.
Freddy, that's right. I like that movie. It was scary.
Well, the first one was, but the rest sucked.
So, you got a boyfriend?
Why? You want to ask me out on a date?
Maybe. Do you have a boyfriend?
No.
You never told me your name.
Why do you want to know my name?
I want to know who I'm looking at.
What did you say?
I want to know who I'm talking to.
That's not what you said.
What do you think I said? What? Hello?
Look, I gotta go.
Wait, I thought we were going to go out.
Nah, I don't think so.
Don't hang up on me.
What movie was that, Russell?
Scream.
Scream. So Scream debuted on December 20th, 1996. And it literally was like a rebirth of the teen slasher movie genre. And it pretty much, that genre, the slasher movies, died off in the 80s and early 90s. So this movie like stemmed this short-lived slasher revolution. And all of a sudden it spawned 3 more Scream movies. I Know What You Did Last Summer. Do you remember those?
Yes.
Yeah. So it was like, it tried to start this whole revolution again of these slasher movies, but it kind of died quickly. Like by the early 2000s, it kind of went away.
Because they played it out for money grabs. You know, they're just going to make Scream 30 up to like 37 as long as people watch it to make money.
It's true. They did.
Yeah.
So the guy who wrote Scream, his name was Kevin Williamson. And I found out that he wrote this movie because of news coverage that he saw about a real serial killer in Gainesville, Florida, who had a very similar MO to the killer in Scream, but he was actually a lot worse than the movie Scream. And His name is Danny Rolling, and they called him the Gainesville Ripper.
Okay.
So Kevin Williamson saw this coverage and in 1990, and he wrote the screenplay for Scream, and it ended up becoming a movie in 1996. But I'm going to tell you all about Danny Rolling, a.k.a. the Gainesville Ripper. He's a very not well-known serial killer, but he was pretty horrific.
Okay. I guess that's where I was supposed to jump in.
Yeah, that's why I paused. That was time for you to say something.
Okay.
You're so annoying. Okay.
That's all I had.
I know, but I thought you were going to say something. So, Danny Rolling stalked and murdered 5 college students in Gainesville, Florida, on the University of Florida campus.
Damn. Good thing I didn't go to college.
Good thing.
I went to college on and off, but it was boring, so I kept leaving.
I don't blame you. College sucks.
And now I don't have any student loan debt, but Jess does, so I guess I do too.
You kind of do too. You have inherited it from me. Sorry. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about Danny's early life, and then I'll get into his crimes. His crime spree. He was kind of...
Wait, let me tell you about his early life. His parents abused him. He was mentally and physically abused. He hurt animals. He... all that stuff. Here we go.
All right. Well, yeah, that's close. I don't know about the hurting animals thing. But Danny was born May 26, 1954 in Shreveport, Louisiana. And his father was a cop. And his father severely abused him, his brother, and his mother. His father always told Danny that he hated him and he never wanted him. And Danny's mother ended up having a nervous breakdown when he was 9 years old. She tried to kill herself and then had to spend a bunch of time in a mental hospital for this nervous breakdown that she was having. As a teen, he was really bad. He was just violent, fighting, burglary. He did a lot of bad stuff. He got arrested a ton of times. Ran with bad crowds, did drugs. And then there was a short time where he decided to try to turn his life around, so he went into the military and stayed in the military, did his 3 or 4 years of time, whatever the requirement is. I think it's 4 years, right? And,
Probably.
After he got out of the military, he ended up getting really heavy into drugs and became a drifter.
What's a drifter?
Somebody who doesn't really have, like, a home. They just kind of bounce from place to place, but don't really establish themselves anywhere.
Oh, because when you said that, I was thinking of Fast and Furious. Like, did he get a car and go to Tokyo and start drifting around corners?
No.
With little Bow Wow?
No.
Oh.
That was really funny.
Worst Fast and Furious of all time. That Paul Walker.
Terrible.
Paul Walker wasn't even in it. If Paul Walker's not in it, I don't like it.
No, it was
R.I.P.
a terrible one. I hated that one the most. The other ones were so good. I used to love those movies.
After that, he spent a career drifting cars.
Yeah, he became a car drifter. Anyway, so he became this, like, drifter. He was, like, moving from place to place, in and out of homelessness, things like that. And then now this brings us to August of 1990, okay? We're going to go to the University of Florida campus, and school is back in session. Everybody's moving to the campus, either back to school or for their first time as freshmen. Everyone's moving into the dorms or into their apartments, and everyone's excited to start school again. So August 23rd, 1990, we have 17-year-olds Christina Powell and 18-year-old Sonia Larson. They were both freshmen at the University of Florida, and they were roommates. They went to Walmart to buy some stuff for their new apartment because they decided they wanted to live in an apartment right off of campus instead of living in the dorm.
So they could party more without restriction.
Probably. So they were at Walmart buying stuff for their apartment, super excited to decorate. But little did they know they were being followed and stalked by Danny Rolling. He was watching them in Walmart, and then he ended up following them all the way back to their house. He didn't get out of the car. He just saw where they lived.
It's crazy because you never know who's following you.
It's so scary. So scary. Imagine being a woman nowadays with these kind of stories, how scary it is.
Well, all the stories are out. Back then, there wasn't like podcasts and social media to tell everyone about the stories. So if it wasn't in your immediate newspaper and you didn't read it that day, you probably didn't hear about it.
It's true. Well, listen to this.
So that's why ladies, you should always carry like pepper spray or something. And I bought Jess one, and she doesn't always carry it, but she should. But I shouldn't say that in case killers are listening. But if you come to this house, you're going to get this smoke. So don't follow her. I'm probably home all the time. I never leave.
Never leave.
Never. I just look out the window waiting for her. Just in case you're listening.
I actually do carry my pepper spray on me now.
And it had a nice pink case.
It does have a pink case, and I do carry it on me now. Thank you very much. So like I was saying, Christina and Sonia, they're roommates. They're buying stuff at Walmart. They get followed back to their apartment, but he doesn't get out of the car. He just wants to see where they live.
Damn.
The next day, August 24th, at 3, well, I guess like later that night, at 3 in the morning. So August 24th at 3 in the morning, he breaks in the back door. One of the girls, Christina, is asleep on the couch. So he walks past her and she doesn't wake up. And he goes up to Sonia's bedroom where she's asleep in her bed. I know. Danny is wearing a black mask. He has a knife.
He bought it from Walmart, guaranteed, when he was following them.
Maybe. He has a knife, a pistol, and duct tape. Okay. He goes up to Sonia's room while she's asleep in her bed, and he puts a piece of duct tape over her mouth so she can't make any noise, and then stabs her multiple times in the chest.
Wow.
And she dies. This is in her sleep. Imagine that's how you get woken up.
I wonder if you wake up. You don't. Do you die immediately from stabs? Probably not. It takes like a little time.
Yeah, because if they hit an organ or they hit your heart or they hit your lungs, especially if they hit your lungs, it takes you a few minutes to die. It's a terrible death. So he heads back downstairs, but since he duct taped Sonia's mouth, Christina didn't wake up because she didn't hear any noise. So she's still asleep on the couch.
Wow.
So he goes back downstairs. Christina's asleep on the couch, and he puts duct tape over her mouth. She wakes up. He grabs her by the wrists, and he bounds her wrists with the duct tape. He cuts all of her clothes off, and he violently rapes her. And then he stabs her multiple times in the chest, and she dies.
One day we're going to do a happy podcast.
Well, this is a true crime podcast.
I know, but that's
never going to be happy. That's not what people are looking for when they come here.
Oh.
They're looking for crime.
All right.
He ends up cutting off her nipples and puts them in a plastic bag and takes them as a souvenir.
He might be getting ready to make a belt. He's saving them.
Like Ed Gein?
Like Ed Gein, the nipple belt.
Well, he doesn't end up saving all of them, but he just takes them as a souvenir for this kill. He takes her body and he washes it in the shower to get rid of all the physical evidence so that they can't trace it back to him.
DNA is probably hard to get rid of every little speck, though.
Yeah, I agree.
There's no way he's not like the Dexter of this shit.
No, he's not.
And if you never watch Dexter, watch it. It's really good. He's a serial killer, but you like root for him.
Yeah, it's a really good show.
Ending is terrible, but the whole series up until the end is really good.
Yeah. So he washes her body, and then he puts her body back on the couch, and he decides that he wants to eat a snack. And he takes a banana and eats it and leaves the peel on the counter. And he does this for a specific reason. Because he wants
I know why. He worked up an appetite with all that work.
No, Russell. He wants to taunt the police. So he likes to leave things behind. Another thing he decides to do is he decides to take the body and pose it in an obscene way so that whoever shows up, the EMS, the first responders, or the cops, they walk in and they're horrified by this staged body.
Damn.
That's posed. But their bodies wouldn't be discovered for 2 days. When friends and family decide to do a welfare check because they hadn't, their parents, they're young, they're 17 and 18, their parents hadn't heard from them.
Were they looking for their food stamps?
No, welfare check is when people are missing or you haven't heard from them, and then you decide to call the police and they go and check up on them. It's called a welfare check to make sure that they're okay.
I know, I was messing with you because I knew you'd get annoyed.
Yeah, that was an annoying comment. It's not funny.
It's funny to get you mad.
So the next victim, Krista Hoyt. This is the next day, August 25th, 1990.
My boy's doing back-to-backs.
Back-to-back.
He's not my boy. I didn't mean that. Let's say this shithead's doing back-to-backs.
There you go. That sounds better. So August 25th, the next day, Krista Hoyt, she actually works for the sheriff's office. She's a clerk at the sheriff's office. And he sneaks into her home. He breaks in, but she's not home yet. So he decides to wait there for her to come home. She gets home around 10 p.m. And when she walks in the door, he waits for her to close the door and lock it. And then he comes up from behind her and puts her in a chokehold. He then takes duct tape, puts it over her mouth, same MO, and bounds her wrists with duct tape, does the same thing. He rapes her and stabs her multiple times in the chest.
Oh my goodness. I can't even imagine coming home and someone being in your house, because you come in your house and like you take your shoes off and you're like, I'm home.
Can you imagine? How horrific is that?
Sometimes I look around when I come home. I wonder like if I'm the only one that like looks around, and sometimes
No, I look around every single time I come home.
Yeah, but we don't like check the closets, every closet.
No, but today I checked behind the shower curtain.
I checked the shower curtain, but that's because the movie Psycho.
Oh, well, I checked the shower curtain. Yeah, pretty much every time.
Yeah, but now what if you open the shower curtain and someone's actually in there? You'd probably die of shock. You're like,
I don't know. I don't know. But
everyone get alarms. Get alarms so people can't sneak in your house. So at least that will eliminate the chance of someone being in your house when you get there. At least they'd break in while you're in there, and maybe you could hear them and fight them off or shoot them or something. If someone breaks in your house, shoot them if you got a gun.
Definitely. I mean, I probably would beat them with a baseball bat because I know exactly where the baseball bat is in our house, so I would probably
It's next to the knife, next to the side of my bed in case someone breaks in.
Oh, there's a knife there too. I didn't even know. See, I didn't even know there was a knife there. But that knife is really hard to open. So I would have a hard time with that.
What? It's just like
it's hard to open it. Anyway, let's move on. So
that was weird.
He binds her wrists, same MO as the other one. He cuts off all her clothes. He violently rapes her. Then he stabs her multiple times. He cuts off her nipples and he lays them next to her body in the bed. And he leaves. This time he leaves it there because he wants shock value. That's what he's looking for. So he leaves the scene, but this idiot realizes that he left his wallet there.
What, he put it to the side while he was like doing his business?
I have no idea. But he realizes that he left his wallet there, so he goes back to the house. When he gets back there, I guess he decides that it's not horrific enough of a scene. So he wants to make it worse for first responders when they come in. So what he decides to do is cut off her head and places it on the bookshelf across the room, staring at her body. And he poses her body in a very obscene way. Because he wants whoever's going to come there to never be able to get this image out of their head, which I'm sure it was traumatizing for these paramedics and cops to show up to see that.
That's pretty nuts.
So the next day now, August 26th, this is Sunday, August 26th, 1990, the media is going absolutely crazy. Everyone is hearing about this. It's all over the place, and the town of Gainesville is just going nuts. A bunch of students are leaving town because, they just got there to go to college, but they're all going back to their hometowns and getting off the campus.
I don't blame them. Screw this. Who needs college? I'm going to work at Mickey D's. I'm out.
So Monday, August 27th.
Don't work at Mickey D's. Or if you do, good for you. But never mind. I don't know where I'm even going with that.
I don't know where you're going with that either.
I was thinking, because I should have said, I was thinking of the Biggie song, Don't Be Mad, UPS is hiring. That's where all that was.
Okay.
Never mind.
So now Monday, August 27th, Tracy Paulus, she lives with her roommate, Manny Taboda. And Manny Taboda is the star of the University of Florida Gators football team. He's 6'3", over 200 pounds, like big dude. And she feels really safe because that's her roommate. So she doesn't feel, unsafe staying in town because she feels like he can protect her, which that's how I feel about you. Like, I'm always feeling a lot better once you're home because I feel like you can protect me.
Of course, I got these muscles.
So she was home alone.
I don't really got a lot of muscles, but I'm fit.
So she was home alone waiting for Manny to come back and come home from work because he bartends. So she was waiting for him to get off work, and she was too afraid to go to sleep until he got home. So he gets home from work around 2 a.m. They both go to bed, and around 3 or 3:30, Danny Rolling breaks into their apartment. He goes to Manny's room first. Manny is asleep in his bed, and Danny Rolling comes up and just repeatedly stabs him while he's asleep. Okay. He fights and fights and fights, but he stabbed him in the lungs and he slashed open his abdomen. So there's only so much fighting you can do.
You're going to bleed out or not breathe.
So Tracy...
How are we supposed to sleep tonight?
Yeah, this is going to give you nightmares tonight.
I'm just going to drink a lot till my body just passes out.
Yeah, this is a scary one. I was planning on watching the movie Scream after this. But anyway. So Manny fights as hard as he can, but obviously it didn't work. And Tracy hears this noise. So she comes running into Manny's room because she doesn't know what's happening. They were both asleep. She just hears noises. She runs in. She locks eyes with the killer, right? In his mask. She just runs back into her room because that's the door right there. She locks it and tries to climb out the window.
Decent strategy.
Yeah, he runs after her. He busts the door open and he grabs her.
Because any door in a house isn't that strong. They're all like weak. Maybe your like front door is pretty strong, but like doors in a house are weak.
Yeah, so he just kicks it in, grabs
Remember
her.
that. Your door in the house is weak. You got to leave.
Yeah, you just got to get outside if you can. But it's probably, imagine you can't really think straight when this is all happening so fast.
Just run.
He just chased her. So she is trying to climb out the window. He busts open the door. He grabs her.
Or run to your gun if you got one.
She didn't have one. He rapes her and stabs her to death. So this is 5 victims in a matter of 72 hours. The city of Gainesville is going nuts. The public is scared to death. Every gun store in Gainesville sold out of guns. Every gun store in the surrounding areas outside of Gainesville all sold out of guns because the media is creating a frenzy and people are scared to death. Everyone
was mad but the gun dealers because they were making money.
Yeah, I guess they were. So a huge task force was put together. The police, they really did the best that they could in this situation. They came together. They created a task force. They automatically just started to create a profile. They decided we're looking for a white male, clearly a sadist, so he likes to dominate his victims, a serial killer / spree killer. He has all of these serial killer tendencies, like posing the bodies, washing them, taking mementos, doing things for shock value. They realized that the murder weapon, they pretty much honed in on exactly what the murder weapon was based on the injuries.
Let me guess, bodies. A knife, a stabbing.
Yes, but they honed in on the fact that it was a Marine-issued combat knife.
Oh, because he was in the military.
Somebody who was in the military. So they are racing against time at this point. They end up collecting 1,500 pieces of evidence and DNA that was found at the scene through semen. They recovered it and they tested it, but it didn't match anybody in the system. So several members of the community notify the police that they want the police to look closely at a University of Florida student named Edward Humphrey. He wears camo and he carries around a large knife and he threatens people with it. So cops were like, oh, we got to find this guy.
What a kook.
Yeah, he has a lot of behavioral issues. And he used to live in the same apartment complex as Tracy and Manny, the two that, were just killed, the last 2 victims. And he had a huge crush on Tracy to the point where he would stalk her and act really weird around her. So police were like, oh man, this is probably our guy. They go full force at him. And since he has all these behavioral issues, he ends up getting arrested on August 30th because he gets into a violent altercation with his grandmother.
Who gets in a violent altercation with grandma?
He did. He beat the crap out of his grandma.
Wow.
So they
Piece of shit.
police. Yeah. So he ends up in a mental hospital, and then police go to this hospital and they interrogate him for 24 hours straight. But they're just not able to get what they need to pin him on this crime and through the interrogation. And, they just keep trying to get him to admit to something. He's not doing it. Simultaneously, there's a bunch of police at his apartment. They got a subpoena to search his apartment, trying to find the murder weapon, any evidence they can, and they're finding nothing.
Well, they could take his DNA and put it against the DNA found at the scene.
They definitely can, but that takes time. That takes weeks.
It takes weeks to do DNA?
Well, maybe not now, but back in 1990.
Send it to the DNA shop. Hey, that's a good idea. We should open up DNA shops like as a store, and then like...
You're so dumb. I'm sure now it doesn't take as long.
Someone call me. Let's open up a DNA shop.
I don't even know what that means.
Well, I'm not giving you my phone number, so you can't call me. But,
I don't even know what that means.
So, like, it could be a mystery. We could have, like, unsolved mysteries, and people could be their own detectives. Everyone right now is like, it sounds kooky, but I could use that. Because say someone would be like, who ate all my cookies? And they're like, I didn't eat the cookies. And then you grab the cookie wrapper and you bring it to the DNA shop, and we'll tell you exactly.
It's like instant DNA testing.
We'll tell you exactly
for like dumb things.
Who ate your cookies?
Yeah, but the point is you have to get that person's DNA.
We'll tell you what DNA was on the thing.
It doesn't work like that. It has to match with a person.
And then
DNA is too complex.
Then you could swab
it's
the people in your house.
Oh, this is this person's DNA. That's not
how
it works.
I'm on to something. I'm not giving any more good ideas in this podcast.
Conversations with Russ's brain that goes in all different directions. So they are interrogating this kid. They're searching his house. They can't pin anything on him. The media, they get wind that this guy is a suspect, and they just run with it. And they're like, this is the number one suspect. They put his name out there. And this causes all these people. He's kind of like enemy number one in Gainesville. So after he was arrested, they end up taking saliva samples and try to match it with the DNA. But the DNA testing takes about 2 to 3 weeks to come back. So he gets sentenced to 22 months in a state psychiatric facility for beating up his grandma. And 20 days later, the DNA comes back and is obviously not a match. So the cops are now back to square one. In October of 1990, police consult VICAP. VICAP is a database that the FBI has, so you can compare MOs, like the modus operandi of a killer. You can compare it with other crimes all over the country. And they decide to compare this MO with other crimes, and they get 8 possibilities.
I have a quick thing I wanted to interrupt with.
What?
So, Russ the Informer has some information for everyone. So, how long does DNA take? Because I had to look that up. So, DNA can take 4 to 5 days, and others can take 3 to 12 weeks or longer in some cases. But that was in 2016, they're saying that. Mm-hmm. So it might be a little faster. But you know who will do DNA really fast? Maury.
No,
Instant.
He doesn't do DNA. He does lie detector.
No.
He does polygraphs.
No. You are not the father. You are not the father isn't by DNA. Isn't by polygraphs. You are not the father, or you are the father through DNA test. That's how you could tell who someone's dad is.
Oh. Well, I don't know, but this is 1990.
Say I'm right.
Obviously it takes longer back then.
Who was right?
I don't know if you were right.
It was me. I'm the only one here. Go ahead.
All right. So it took 20 days for the DNA to come back. Obviously, it wasn't a match.
Takes 2 business days according to this website. Now I'm going to stop. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you. So, like I said, they compared this killer's MO in the program VICAP that the FBI has. They compared it to crimes all over the country, and they get 8 possibilities. But there's only one crime that's an exact match of this same MO. There was a triple homicide in Shreveport, Louisiana, which is where Danny Rolling is from. There was a triple homicide a few years before that was never solved. The wife it was a wife and a husband and their kid, and the wife was posed in a sexually suggestive way after the killing. So that's how they knew that these killers, this was the same guy. Police look up anyone who was in Florida and Louisiana at the times of these crimes, and they get hundreds of people. So now they have to go through and narrow it down circumstantially. Who could be this person? They go through all these names. It takes them a lot of time. But eventually they narrow it down to Danny Rolling. So Danny was living with his father earlier that year in April, and they get into this fight, him and his father. His father points a gun at him, and Danny manages to grab the gun and he shoots his father 3 times.
This dude will he wasn't beating over his grandma. He'll kill his father? That's nuts.
Well, his father was really abusive his whole life and told him.
Oh, so good.
So he was bad.
Shoot that
So
sucker.
he shoots his father 3 times, but his father doesn't die. So Danny goes on the run.
What is he, the Terminator?
I don't know, but he doesn't die. So Danny goes on the run and he starts committing a string of armed robberies all throughout the South. And this is earlier in the year before he does this killing spree in Gainesville.
I wonder if his father ended up dying or he lived.
He lived.
Like they fixed him. They patched him up.
He lived. He ended up being like paralyzed, I think, but he lived.
Wow.
So on September 8th of 1990, while police are distracted looking into that guy, Edward Humphrey, obviously looking back, hindsight is 2020, but at this time in September, this is a few weeks after the killings, police are all distracted with Edward Humphrey.
The grandma beater.
Yeah, the grandma beater. So they're not paying attention to anybody else right now because they're focused in on him. But Danny Rolling ends up trying to rob a Winn-Dixie in Ocala, Florida. But police...
What kind of store is a Winn-Dixie?
Oh, a Winn-Dixie's a grocery store.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a Stop and Shop or Food Town. So he goes there, holds up this Winn-Dixie, but police get called. He goes on this massive police chase, and they end up catching him, and he goes to the Marion County Jail. So by January 24th, 1991, police have finally put it all together. They realize this guy was our killer. He's been in jail now because he tried to hold up this Winn-Dixie in September. So this guy's already in jail. So we just need to
DNA
get some DNA samples and match him.
They could have brought it right to the DNA store and got it the same day.
God, shut up about this DNA store. This is so stupid. So they go to the jail. They collect fingerprints
It's not stupid.
and blood samples. It is kind of stupid. I'm sorry.
Same day DNA service. Who's your daddy? That's what we'll call it.
So they end up getting his DNA, and it matches. And he is the killer. So come to find out, though, this is interesting. And it's kind of a mess up on their part. Even though I have to say, like, looking through what all the police did, they did a really great job with this investigation. I mean, to think that these killings happened, this serial killer, spree killer, did this stuff in August, and then by January 24th, they had him. That's only a few months. Sometimes serial killers literally go for
They did in August?
years and years. He committed the crimes in late August.
August, September, October, November, December, January. 5 months.
5 months. But they did as much as they could, and they were on it. So come to find out, though, cops had already known about him one other time, but they didn't put it together back then. So the same day that he killed his third victim, Krista Hoyt, the one that was working for the sheriff's department, that same day that he killed her, he robbed a bank a few miles away. And
This guy was like reckless. He was like an outlaw in the cowboy days.
yeah,
just
he
going
was
from town
totally
to town,
reckless. Yeah, he was on another level.
looting and pillaging.
So that same day, he robbed this bank, and police there was a separate detectives that were investigating this bank robbery, and they found his camp that he was living in. He was living in a tent in the woods, right? They found his camp.
So he's homeless.
At the time, he was just jumping from town to town, so he was living in the woods. Yeah, homeless.
That's called homeless.
Yes, he was homeless. So he wasn't there, obviously, but they found his tent. They found a knife. They found a pistol. They found a mask. And they found a cassette tape in a tape recorder. They brought it all in, but they weren't the people on the task force for this other crime. So it just ended up not getting put together. So they collected all this evidence. They never tested it, and they never listened to the tape.
What?
If they would have listened to the tape.
Who would have listened to the tape?
They didn't listen to the tape.
Maybe they didn't have batteries.
No, they just
The batteries
didn't
might have been
listen.
dead.
Maybe. Hopefully. Let's
Like
give
all of
them
our
the
remotes
benefit
in the
of
house.
Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Hopefully the batteries were dead, but they didn't listen to the tape.
Go to Walmart.
And they never listened to it. If they would have listened to it, they would have heard him talk about all these crimes.
Maybe it was 9-volt batteries. Those are a little expensive.
No, it was a cassette player. It wasn't. It was probably AA batteries. So then, yeah, they never put it together.
Wasn't in the budget.
So they
Bums.
could have they could have had him, but hindsight is 2020, and it just is what it is. But
Hindsight is a cassette
they
tape.
still did a great job.
Sometimes I'm befuddled at these stupid things they do.
Yeah, but it's easy to say that now that I'm reading you the whole entire thing after it's already played out. But in the moment,
No.
certain things happen. I mean, don't get me wrong.
No, a cassette tape, yeah, because like what? Say for instance, you pick up a cassette tape. You could have picked it up, and he could have been like documenting it. Like who knows? He could have been like, "Hey, 1:50 p.m. About to walk into this bitch's house and kill them." Something like that, or he could have something. He could have just been speaking his crazy thoughts. I'm thinking of someone to kill today, or
Well,
I don't
they could
know.
have, but they didn't listen.
I'm tired of this mask. I need a new one. Who knows what he was saying on there?
Yeah, I know. Well, they didn't listen to the tape, so they ended up finally. You know, he was sent to a trial, but he was tried separately for all of his armed robberies because he did a slew of armed robberies. He was tried separately for those, and that was the first thing he went on trial for. I mean, he went to trial for, and he got 3 life sentences plus 176 years for all of the armed robberies and violent crimes that he committed. He was tried separately for the murders months later, and he entered a plea of not guilty.
You know why he did that?
Why?
Because he's stuck in jail for his whole life anyway, and if he pleads not guilty, he gets to keep going to court to like have something to do instead of being stuck in jail.
Possibly.
No, I'm telling you.
Well, okay, possibly. I don't know him.
I do. I profiled him already in my head.
Okay. Well, 8 months later, so it didn't last long because 8 months later, he decides to call cops and tell them that he wants to confess. But he doesn't want to confess himself. He wants his cellmate named Bobby Lewis to be in the room in the interrogation room with him, and Bobby Lewis is going to tell everything he did. So he told his cellmate everything he did, and then he said he's only going to confess if he does it through this guy. So he just sits there next to this guy, Bobby Lewis, as Bobby is explaining all the things he did, and he's just sitting there like agreeing with him, like, "Yep,
So it's kind of this is kind of
really
like
bizarre."
it's kind of like he's like the Puff Daddy of like confessions, because like this dude's rapping and in the background he's ad-libbing like, yeah, I was
except
there.
he did
Take that.
Yeah, he did
Like
all
that.
of it. You're so weird. So he confesses via Bobby Lewis, his cellmate, and then he blames, later in the interview when he's in his confession, he blames all of the murders on an inner demon he calls Gemini.
This is why I don't like astrology.
Well,
Astrology's stupid.
he ended up being sentenced to death.
All Geminis are terrible.
And he died. No, they're not.
I don't even know what that means.
You don't know anything about astrology. You speak in hyperbole all the time. You have no idea what you're talking about.
And you know what else? What I do know about astrology is it categorizes people, and I don't like categorizing people.
But you call yourself Russ the Profiler. You're a walking oxymoron.
No, I'm a profiler because I don't categorize them with other people. I just say who you are. And like, obviously you are just a hater of me.
Well, Bobby Rowling died via lethal injection in, I think, 2014 or something. And so he's dead.
See,
But this is the man that inspired the writer to write Scream and then inspired all of the late 90s slasher films.
well, he made a lot of people some money with his ideas.
But he was disgusting.
Oh, that was terrible. I think that lethal injection and like all these ways of killing are letting them off too easy. We should implement some type of torture.
I don't know. I'm not a huge proponent of the death penalty, so...
No, me neither. Keep them alive and keep poking them with stuff.
Oh, so you'd
Like
rather...
a cow prong or something.
You'd rather torture them. Well, this is the...
Like him.
Okay.
Not people that like... But like people that have tortured other people, they should get it.
You should get tortured.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Maybe there are citizens who are willing to do it. I don't know.
Me.
Well...
Not all of them.
I guess you found your next career. Try to make it a thing.
Nah, I don't know if I'd really do that.
Yeah, you couldn't do it. You're such a liar.
It depends on what they did. If like...
Well, I guess it depends on what they did, but
Yeah.
I don't think you could do it.
I'm not like cutting people's arms off, but I could like poke them with something.
Poke 'em with a stick.
Pause. Pause.
That was a pretty gruesome one. And I've never heard of him. I honestly had no idea that Scream was made after a real killer. The only thing that made me look it up was because earlier in the week, I got this random prank phone call. And so then it made me, and it's Halloween time. So I was thinking about scary movies and prank phone calls. And then it took me on to the prank phone call Scream down that road. And then I started thinking, I wonder if Scream is like made after a real killer or if it's just, who wrote it and what they wrote it about. And then I found this whole story.
We should have played the message they left you.
Oh, the scary message.
Yeah. Maybe you could put it on Instagram or something. I don't know how to do that.
Oh, maybe next episode. I don't want to hear it anymore. It scared me too much.
Well, if you're listening and you prank call, you come in this house, you're going to get this smoke. Because I don't sleep. Because that's the cousin of death. That's what Nas said.
All right, everyone. Well, hopefully you guys have a good week. Wife of Crime Wednesday. Check out wifeofcrime.com and Wife of Crime Pod on Instagram. And just so you guys know,
5 stars.
we do, well, you can give us 5 stars, but we also have an email that you can email, wifeofcrimepod@gmail.com. You can give us feedback. Instead of giving us a 1 star, if you hate us, just write me an email and tell me why you hate me, because I'd rather you just tell me the truth and put a 1 star.
No, I don't value
would.
that.
I'd rather someone write me an email and tell me what they don't like than put a 1 star on iTunes. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, no.
I'd rather you just tell
don't give
me.
no stars or nothing. Just don't listen again if you don't like it. Don't waste your energy.
That's true.
Energy's valuable.
Because I probably won't change much if you tell me what you hate about the podcast.
I can't change me. If
Yeah,
you don't like
you're
me, you don't like me.
Yeah, Russ is definitely not changing. There's nothing you can say to change him. This is who he is.
She's been trying for
I've
years.
been trying for 9 years. It doesn't work. I'll continue to try and be unsuccessful for the rest of my life, I'm sure. So
For all the people out there that like me, hashtag we like Russ. Let's do it. Every week I get a new hashtag.
you've given like 7 hashtags.
And no one responds.
No one hashtags.
One day, I'm going to trend. I don't even care if I do, but it would, you know why it would be great? Because it would make Jess so annoyed. She's like, I can't believe this. They entertain this.
Okay, everyone, have a good week. Hit us
Russ
up
the
on
Profiler
Instagram.
and Jess the Hater out.
Bye, everyone.